Hello BookTube, it's Ben here again from the History Fella channel. Here today with a book haul. Now I've had quite a few books in. I think they all turned up yesterday. But I've had books from Pen and Sword, White Owl Books, Green Hill Books and Air World. So I've got 22 altogether that have arrived. So I'm going to split this book haul into two. Do 11 in each video, because obviously doing 20 odds down gets too much and people can't really remember what you have reviewed or what you have received. So so I'll do it in two. The video, obviously today's one that you're watching now has dropped today, and then I'll do another one for tomorrow as well, so keep an eye out. The other thing I was going to say was I'm officially up to 200 subscribers now, so thank you very much for everyone who's watched, suffered the torture of having to watch and listen to me. It's very much appreciated, and thank you all very much. You're very kind, and it's kind of cool to know that at least 200 people out there are more than happy to listen to me, so thank you very much. Right, let's get on with these books. Right, the first one is a true crime one. It's called Investigating the Almost Perfect Murders. The Case of Russell Callsley and Other Crimes, written by Anthony Knott, MBE, and published by Pen and Sword Books at £14.99. Anthony Knott joined the Metropolitan Police in 1971, which was a very different world than what it is now. He describes his early experiences in the Met, including the arrest of a man for murdering a prostitute in King's Cross. He was present when a fellow police officer was almost stabbed to death, and witnessed an act of police brutality when he interrupted the beating of a petty criminal in his cell by the CID. He transferred to the county force of Dorset in 1976, where not long after his promotion to DS, he engaged in what would be a 10-year-long investigation into the disappearance of Monica Taylor and the eventual conviction of her husband, Peter, for what was almost the perfect murder. Monica's remains were never found. He then recounts a series of murder cases in which he was involved, from the murder and the decapitation of a woman in Bournemouth and the random killing of another, to extremely violent killing of a gay man in Boscombe Gardens, Bournemouth, in which it took 2 years to bring the killers to justice. That's going to be an interesting one. I think he eventually makes it higher up the ranks as well, so he might get more involved as well. But it's let's just see how many cases he does. Oh, 21. So that should be an interesting read. That's Investigating the Almost Perfect Murders by Anthony Knott. The second one is also another true crime one. This is Scotland Yard's Murder Squad. Written by Dick Kirby, published by Pen and Sword Books, and £25. In 1906, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner was asked by the Home Office to make available skilled investigators for murder inquiries nationwide, as few constabularies had sufficiently skilled or indeed any detectives. Thus was born the Reserve Squad, or Murder Squad as it later became known. Despite a reluctance by some forces to call upon the Met, the Murder Squad has proved its effectiveness on countless occasions, with its remit extended to British territories overseas. A particularly sensitive case was the murder of a local superintendent on St Kitts and Nevis. I've read a couple of Dick Kirby's books before. He writes a lot about on the Met Police and true crime. And it's always a good detailed read as well, so this one should be good. So that's Scotland Yard's Murder Squad by Dick Kirby, published by Pen and Sword Books at £25. I shall leave a link to Pen and Sword Books below this video, and from that link you'll be able to get hold of any of these books. Right, the next one is not true crime. It's English Rebels and Revolutionaries by Stephen Bastaio. Biographies of famous English rebels and revolutionaries from the Middle Ages to the 19th century. Wat Tyler, Jack Cade, Oliver Cromwell, the Chartists, the Suffragettes and more. A chronicle of the rise of democracy in England, a history of people power, beautifully illustrated with images from rare books. And I'm going to enjoy this one, I think, because it's kind of like, you know, all the not bad people, the people that don't follow the norm in history. And I remember doing about the Chartists when I was at university, and they were really interesting. So that should be a good book. English Rebels and Revolutionaries, written by Stephen Bastaio, priced at £25. The next one is another different topic. It's called The Real Gladiator, the true story of Maximus Decimus Meridius, written by Tony Sullivan, published by Pen and Sword Books, and this is priced £20. Describes the several plots against Commodus, the first by his sister Lucilla, ended in her execution, the last resulting in Commodus being strangled in the bath. Demonstrates that Marcus Aurelius actively groomed his son for the throne rather than wished to return Rome to a republic. Shows the reality of gladiator games was vastly different from that depicted in films. Gives a more accurate portrayal of warfare in the 2nd century, and covers a fascinating period of Roman history from the stability and competence of Marcus Aurelius to the chaos after Commodus, from a kingdom of gold to one of iron and rust, as the contemporary Cassius described it. Well, a little bit different, that'll be good. That's how I always say all the books are good, but I just find all and every aspect of history really interesting, and something that you've always got something to learn, and there's always something new. So yes, I do find all the books really good. Right, the next one, now you might have seen something similar to this. This is A Dark History of Sugar, written by Neil Buttery, published by Pen and Sword Books, and it's priced at £20. Now there's a theme here, because Pen and Sword Books have done a number of these books, because I've reviewed a couple, because they did about coffee, chocolate, tea. This is the sugar one, and I'm sure there was another one maybe about sweets, but obviously we know where in the world sugar is mainly grown, so it probably involves a lot about cruelty to slaves and that. A Dark History of Sugar delves into evolutionary history to explain why sugar is so loved, yet is the root cause of so many bad things. Europe's colonial past and Britain's empire was founded and fueled on sugar, and the white stuff made the US the greatest superpower on the planet, and they all relied upon slave labour to catalyse it. Because not only do you hear about, or do you read about the bad things that went on, it also does involve this, write about the sugar trade and businesses that are closely involved with sugar. So that's that one. The Dark History of Sugar. Pen and Sword Books, priced at £20. Right, we're popping back to true crime. Now, if you're this side of the pond, you would have heard about these people, and maybe even if you're in America, you like your true crime. This book is about the Moors murderers. The full story of Ian Brady and Myra Hindley, written by C.G.C. Cook. It's published by Pen and Sword Books and priced at £25. And on the back, all it says is unseen photographs from Ian Brady's Tartan album, extremely rare photographs of Ian Brady and Myra Hindley, extensive research, police interviews and witness statements. If you don't know about the Moors murderers, I think it was in the 60s. They got together as like a couple, but they preyed upon young children and young people, and were responsible for a wide number of deaths, where they would go up to the Yorkshire moors and end up burying them in the moors. And the problem was they never told anyone where they actually buried them. They kind of led people along, and relatives and that sort of thing, saying, you know, oh, when it gets to so and so, I'm going to reveal where so and so was buried, but they never did. So many families lost their children and never got to find out where they actually were. So it's probably going to be a sad read, this, and I'll make sure I've got the lights on for that. The next book, Aston Claims War, an accomplished writer, Aston MacLean, and How Royal Navy Shaped His Bestsellers, written by Mark Simmons. Many of you will have heard of Aston MacLean, and he used to write military books. And obviously, as the title says, it looks at how the Royal Navy shapes his thinking and his position as an author. As published by Pen and Sword Books again, and priced at £20. Alright, just a few left. Right, World War II, for a change. Special Forces, Brothers in Arms. Ian and Ambrose McGonigal, War in the SAS and SBS. Written by Patrick McGonigal. So I presume he's probably a son. Maybe a son and father, or son and uncles. A gripping account of two standout pioneers of Second World War Special Forces soldiering. Written with unrivaled access to the archives, this is a must-read. And that's written by Damien Lewis. The quote is from Damien Lewis, who is the author of the SAS Band of Brothers. So, if it's used based on source material, it should be quite interesting, with more information than you would normally get. Some decent photos as well, if you flip through. So that's again published by Pen and Sword Books, and is £25. The next one is Revolting Recipes. Apologies if you're a vegetarian. Revolting Recipes from History, written by Serene Charrington Hollands. There's a quote on the front. Revolting Recipes is a fascinating book. Shows the often perilous and hilarious history of food production. A menu of weird and wonderful delicacies from the British culinary history. From the gruesome history behind everyday staples to food that has fallen from the culinary grace. Delves into the history of culinary experimentation to bring us some of the weirdest and most stomach-churning food delicacies to ever grace a dining table. A food book with a difference that will appeal to lovers of culinary history and the downright bizarre. Oh, I think this book is going to be full of oddballs and weirdos as we find out some of the gruesome recipes. As published by Pen and Sword Books and priced at £20. Right, last one in this particular pile for Pen and Sword. Hitler's Spy Against Churchill. The Spy Who Died Out in the Cold. Written by a Dutch author who has a name, Jan Willem van der Braak. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. But published by Pen and Sword Books at £25. The story of a German agent parachuted into England during Operation Lena. Who was Jan Willem ter Braak, the only agent who managed to evade capture for 5 months. The mystery behind ter Braak's eventual suicide. Was he really on a special mission to kill Prime Minister Winston Churchill? So that looks good too. And actually might as well do this one because I don't actually remember asking to review this, so it looks a bit of an odd book. Lots of drawings and demonstrations. It's called Juras Fight Book. The Genius of the German Renaissance and His Combat Treatise. Written by Derek Hagendorn and Daniel Jacquet. Albrecht Dürer is undoubtedly the most famous German artist of the Renaissance. His works are well renowned, and he was the master in numerous artistic disciplines. What is less well known is that he was fascinated by weaponry and fencing throughout his life. He produced several engravings for the tournament book by Emperor Maximilian I, but he devoted himself much more thoroughly to the subject of duels in his own extensive fencing manuscript. That looks interesting. That's published by Greenhill Books, priced at £30. So there we go. That's the first part of the book haul done. If you've managed it this far, well done. You've done very well. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and looking at the books, then please give the video a thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, because sometimes when you get up to a big number, it then goes down a couple. So if you haven't subscribed already, then please do. It's greatly appreciated, and thank you very much for watching. I shall put the second video up tomorrow, so you can look out for that. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.